Live from the Bayside Bunker. It's another edition of Bettin N Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Roscoe, and we're bringing a really fun one for you guys tonight as the road to the Kentucky Derby moves on with Lecomte Day on Saturday, January 17th, down at the fairgrounds. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you guys all so much for joining the show. We greatly appreciate it if you do end up enjoying the podcast tonight, or you've already enjoyed the podcast and you just find yourself coming back on the regular. Please subscribe down below, because why not? You're already coming back anyway. And hit that like button down below as well. We would greatly appreciate it, because not only is it completely free to do and the best way to help out our channel, but also if you do it, it pushes these videos and others on our channel into YouTube's algorithm to hopefully bring more horse players to the HHH Racing Podcast. And of course, for that, we thank you. I made a promise to my co-hosts, and I'm making a promise to you guys. I will not spend 10 minutes on ads this time. I know all of you out there just went, oh, thank the Lord, trying to get me to stop talking at the beginning of these shows, but I definitely won't stop talking later, as it's a big day for myself and other partners of Crown's Way Racing, as we have two of our best horses going out for one of these races today that we are going to cover, and I may or may not be partially biased. Of course, guys, you can go down below the video player again, hit the like button if you guys do enjoy the show. You can also listen to every single one of these podcasts in audio form over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Please go rate, review, and subscribe over there if that interests you at all. We, of course, have a fantastic show called The Leaderboard on Wednesday nights just before this show at 7 p.m. Eastern, brought to you by our good friends over at TwinSpires. Live money contest strategy recaps of last week's and previews for next week's contest. This card we're going to cover at Fairgrounds is a contest on TwinSpires on Saturday. So if that interests you at all, whether you're brand new to contests or a seasoned veteran, it's a fantastic show to kind of strengthen your knowledge around contest, live money contest play. Again, the Leaderboard, sponsored by our good friends over at TwinSpires, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We also have a brand new show, Wire to Wire, brought to you by our friends over at First Bet and Santa Anita, talking the coast-to-coast pick five every single Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. If that interests you, that of course covers Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita. If you are betting any of those tracks, come hang out with us over on Wire to Wire every single Thursday night. You can also follow us for short form content, TikTok and Instagram on Bettin N Boozin, at Bettin N Boozin Podcast, over on those two platforms. Of course, Team HHH, your deadline is running out, guys. It's till January 23rd to make your payment to get every single card that we put out for the Power Picks, which is our tip sheet that we give out every single Saturday. You also get meet-specific Power Picks tip sheets, such as the full Saratoga meet card, both Keeneland meets, Del Mar, tons and tons of information for a very good price. Plus, you get a discount if you're already a normal Power Pick subscriber, which is all done through patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. Have had a fantastic start to the 2026. I believe our ROI is over $10. Of course, we hope for that to continue, but we are $2.06 ROI. Anything over $2 is a profit, and we're going to give out our 1,000th pick this weekend since February of 2021, and still well in the profit again, guys. Patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast for that. And if you want to see previous editions of those Power Picks before you buy them, please head on over to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Look at that. Did that in 3.5 minutes. So that's pretty good for me. You guys all know that out there. But of course, I see a bunch of people in the chat and my co-hosts that are willing to come on to talk about this fantastic card over at Fairgrounds. First, from the East Coast of New Jersey, my good friend Patrick Kunsel, and of course, the new man from the Philadelphia area, also my good friend Andrew Rosinski. Gentlemen, obviously we're not covering race 12 and race 13 tonight. However, the 4 undercard stakes arguably are better races than, at least more competitive races than the last two on the card. So even though these are undercard stakes, still very, very good races on Saturday at Fairgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. I really like this card. And it's funny. I think the three of us, or I should say, the three of us covered a lot of these horses back on December 20th, I think, if I'm getting the date correctly. Yep. So I went back and watched our show to make sure I could correct some wrong picks. But then again, there may be some horses that I want to bet again.
Yeah, I hear that.
pull the Charlie angle, or you go against the grain and try and figure out who to bet on. I see a bunch of people in the chat. Again, if you guys are new here or find yourself coming back and haven't commented in the live chat before, it's a fantastic feature. We read every single one, and we love to interact with you guys, both on X and on YouTube. Bottom right-hand side of the screen, please type in the live chat. Katie, of course, was here bright and early. My mom is here. Mom, thanks so much for joining the show. Greatly appreciate it. I know you love your shout out at the beginning of the show. Mike Austin. Mike, haven't seen your name in a while. Thanks so much for joining, man. Greatly appreciate it. Mike Saletta, my friend, Fairgrounds card will definitely be fun. Nathan Woodward, haven't seen your name in a while too, my friend. Tell you the hairs to shove it, talk as much as you like. Nathan, you might be in the minority there, but you know that's exactly why I like you. Ed Burke, a lot. Ed Burke, Greetings Degenerates is a fantastic way to bring it out. So cheers to everyone out there. If you are betting and boozing like the rest of us, hopefully we can put some winners on the table. First race, guys, we're going to cover tonight is race number 7 on the Fairgrounds cards, the Duncan F. Kenner Stakes. And I'll bring up the Equibase right now. Since we're covering Fairgrounds on Wednesday, guys, it's a very foreign thing on this show. We actually have morning lines and numbers in the program. It's a crazy concept. I know Wednesday before a race day, but you'll see it on the screen right now, guys. Full field of 12, including one also eligible in the number 13 Tough Catch. But your morning line favorite is the number 4, Usually Wrong, Isaac Castillo for Robertino Diodoro, 3-1 morning line favorite. Second choice, the number 2, Heart Headed, Jose Ortiz, winning an ungodly amount. I think it's 30% at Fairgrounds so far this meet. Joe Sharp does the training, 7-2 on the morning line. Your third choice is to the inside of that, number 1, Wendelson, Marcelino Pedroza Jr. for Chris Hartman, 6-1 on the morning line. I'll put our picks up on the screen right now. We're going all with 3 separate horses. Pat, I'll let you go first, as you are going with the morning line favorite, the number 4, Usually Wrong. Andrew, you're going a little bit off the beaten path with the number 5, Petkoff. I'm going with number 2, Heart Headed. Pat, again, going to you first, my friend. Isaac Castillo, who is probably a jockey that not too many people know about, is having a fantastic start to his Fairgrounds meet. Obviously, Diodoro always wins around that 20% mark, coming off a very, very big number last time in allowance race at Fairgrounds.
Yeah, I really liked that race. Did end up getting disqualified for second, but I just thought the improvement there was really, really impressive. And Diodoro, over the last 3 years in turf sprints is hitting at 21%. And I think the vote of confidence in wheeling this horse back in just over 3 weeks kind of led me to believe that this horse is still going strong. Usually guys, we see that big buyer like that and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But I think in this situation, watching that race, I want this horse again and should be, on or near the lead in what should be a pretty contested pace.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Andrew, is obviously you don't have this horse anywhere. So I'd love to hear what you don't like about him. Last time, obviously, the 101, but it's not like that number came out of nowhere, right? I mean, back last year at Lone Star, I guess now it is last year, ran a 92 and a 96. I mean, 7 for 10 lifetime. Tried the Fairgrounds turf last time, liked it, obviously. This horse looks to be sitting on go, but again, the price probably is the big issue on a horse that really hasn't been tested at this type of level.
Yeah, the last race, I think the buyer is pretty strong, but I didn't like that the horse ducked out down the lane. Now, granted, I think this feels a little bit more tough than that race, so I think that there's a little bit more value across the board. So that's why I pivoted to a horse that or 3 other horses above this horse. I did like this horse, though. I think this race is pretty wide open, so I can definitely see that horse winning in a race like this and redeeming its, righting its wrongs from last time out. But I ultimately landed on the 5 Petkov. This horse ran last time out at Fairgrounds. This horse is a Fairgrounds specialist, in my opinion, when it comes to this race. 3 wins out of 4 starts with a third. Coming off a pretty good buyer off of a layoff, I think this horse has a little bit more left in the tank. There's a ton of speed in this race. I think that Brittany Russell's one of the better trainers on the East Coast, if not the whole country. And you get one of the better turf jockeys in the country, Ben Curtis, on this one again, who's familiar with this horse. 91 buyer last time out fits in this field. It's one of the more dominant buyers last time out in this field, and I think that the pace scenario sets up for this one to have a good run at it.
I agree. Honestly, I might have overlooked this horse a little bit, Pat. I mean, 3 for 4 on the fairgrounds turf, 4 for 4 on the money. So Andrew might just have hit it on the head that this one might be a fairgrounds turf specialist. Again, it's going to need to step up a little bit. You have the 4 running a 101, the 2s running in the mid 90s. So maybe a little bit of a step up, but 6-year-old Brittany Russell's care second off the layoff. Definitely not out of the question for someone like Petkoff.
No, and the pace is going to have to be hot, right? Gets that middling draw, so it's going to have to let others go from being in between many others in there. And the thing is there is somebody to the outside and a couple to the outside that are going to be on go, so that could be a positive thing. And yeah, I could have overlooked this horse too. I mean, Brittany's numbers, Andrew, you hit on, are ecstatic right now.
Yeah, I mean, let alone, 2025, 28% out of the 626 starts. Again, very mainstay East Coast trainer, but has the ability to go across the country and win, or even run well. Post time, obviously the number one case for that, but she's done it with many other horses before. So Petkoff is definitely a win candidate for Saturday. Pat, actually, I'm going with the number 2, hard-headed Joe Sharp, Jose Ortiz. My only problem, obviously, 2 back is the race that I'm really looking forward to. Last time pretty much got beat on the square by Usually Wrong, although I think hard-headed was a little bit closer to the pace than he likes to be last time, just because of how, a little bit, you could see the blue-coated figures on the sheet for 5.5 at Fairgrounds. They've been cooking pretty quick early in these races. Again, just maybe a little bit closer to the pace than he wants to be. A little bit of a weird one, but now Jose Ortiz hops back aboard. That installs a little bit of confidence in me. And if he can build off that 96 last time out, first time out as a 5-year-old, quote unquote, should be able to get the setup. The only problem is it's Jose, it's Joe Sharp. They're going to be bet. It's just the way it goes. I'm hoping second choice, since number 4 Usually Wrong got that big number last time. But again, you're talking Joe Sharp and Jose Ortiz versus Robertino Diodoro and Isaac Castillo. So I could easily see each one of them being favorite. However, obviously with Usually Wrong beating hard-headed last time, I'm hoping that he should stay as second choice. Going down the list, guys, for our second and third choices. Pat, you are going with the number 3 in this race in Bear River. This horse ran in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Might still be running now, but has had some really nice races, including, a win at Ellis Park with a 95 and that Kentucky Downs win on the lead with a 103. Obviously going to have to contest a little bit of pace in here, but if this horse can work at a trip, this horse is definitely one that can fit in the money. Also 2 for 2 at Fairgrounds. Yeah,
2 for 2 at Fairgrounds. Ran in this race last year, I believe. Got taken off. Was it? Is that correct? Yeah, it got taken off. And this horse just needs to round back into form, right? I mean, was the hot commodity going into the Breeders' Cup race, and obviously really was a longer shot in there, but gets out of that race and runs at Fairgrounds on Thanksgiving and just threw in the dud on the dirt. So that rattles off a couple nice works, and that's kind of where I'm at. I want to see if this horse breaks well with Jimmy Graham and see if he could take him pretty much all the way. 8-1, I don't think it's going to be 8-1. This horse is going to get bet just off of previous races, I firmly believe. So obviously, I think the morning line is a little bit off, but I think this horse should, if takes money, all signs point to go.
And tell you what, Keith DeSormo, also another one that's had a very good start to his Fairgrounds meet, winning 20%. And, we can pray to the weather gods above us. But as of right now, I'm knocking on my desk so hard right now. There is no weather in the forecast at all, with multiple 0% chance of rain over the next couple of days. Again, we like to hammer out weather as soon as possible with these shows. No more talk of the W word, but as of right now, it looks to be very clear. So hopefully, unlike last year, this card, which is very nice, can stay on the turf. Andrew, you're going with the number 9, who I also have in there and can't deny it. Larry Avelli. Okay, I like to say Arlington legend a lot. Actual Arlington International Racecourse legend. Jareth Loveberry, Patricia's Hope. This is straight Chicago connections with a bunch of races that fit in here. Just going to have to be off the layoff. But when those Revellis are working well, they're going to be ready.
Yeah, I really like the work tab and the increasing buyers, especially going to turf. I think this horse definitely wanted the turf. Is definitely a turf sprinter at that, and I think this horse could get loose on the lead if there a couple other ones scratch. I mean, or if they don't go. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be faster than the 11 to the outside of him, but if he gets into a duel, he's usually one that can kick on late, which is something that I like when it comes to that. I mean, if you go back to this horse's debut at Fairgrounds back in December of 2024, this horse dueled on debut and then still drove clear, earning a 76 buyer on debut. And then they tried the synthetic in the dirt, and the horse ran 2 clunkers. But once getting back on turf, 93 and a 94. I don't know how fresh this horse will be, but I do like a little bit of time off between starts. He's shown that he can do it from March of last year to October. So now this one's a little bit shorter. I think that the layoff shouldn't really be a problem. And if he gets into a duel, I don't see how he doesn't stay on late compared to others.
Personally, to me, if that race that both the 2 and the 4 came out of doesn't hold up to the standard I think it will, this is my horse to beat him. And if there wasn't such a lot of pace in here, I probably would have this horse on top. I mean, you mentioned the 2 races that kind of dirty up the form per se for Cantonayet. Both routing, neither one of them on the turf. Goes back to 5.5. This horse is 3 for 3 with a combined win of 10 lengths over 3 races. I mean, this horse has done absolutely nothing wrong. Justify Galileo mare, granted not necessarily sprinting pedigree, but this turf pedigree out the ass. So Cantonayet is definitely one that I would like in a race that the configurations that I really don't like every single time. But Cantonayet's definitely one that is in there. Matt McJunkin brings up a really good point. When was the last time that Pratt rode a 20-1 shot? Pratt, of course, on the number 6. Schwarzmeyer for Peter Urton. Looks a little slow on paper, and again, going to be one of the speed duel, but you don't very often get Pratt at double-digit odds, let alone 20-1. So, could be even worth a couple big bucks in there. And the good thing is, Noah knows me too well. He goes, Kyle's going to be like a kid in a candy store with all these Cherie DeVaux horses and very well like Cherie DeVaux horses on Saturday. Noah, you'll see in a couple seconds, my young Padawan. Don't you worry. In the Duncan F. Kenner Stakes, I'm going 2-4-9. Pat's going 4-3-2. Andrew's going 5-2-9, guys. And you can see scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now, everything that we show you throughout these shows is done through DRF and DRF Formulator. You can look at replays while you're looking at the PPs, trainer stats, dam stats, sire stats. It's honestly, I used to say this even when we weren't sponsored by them. Now that we are, I literally can't use another program anymore because of how good Formulator is with the stats involved, especially with maiden races and stuff like that. It's such a big tool to know. So Clocker reports are available every single day for Gulfstream and Santa Anita. PPs, of course, available on their site for both Classic, but Formulator, I think, is the way to go. And, of course, with the brand new Timeform US PP. So please go check that out. If you don't use DRF already, you're definitely missing out. Guys, race number 9 is the next race we're going to cover. We're skipping race 8, which is actually a really nice maiden special weight. Going 2 turns for 3-year-old maidens, which could be one to keep an eye on with a couple very well-meant horses in there, it seems like. But race number 9 is the Marie Krantz Memorial Stakes. $100,000 going a mile and the 16th on the turf, draws another full field of 11. Putting the picks on the bottom of the screen, or on the screen right now, you'll see the number 5, Maduro, is a pretty heavy morning line favorite, getting Lasix for the first time. Jose Ortiz for Peter Urton, 2-1 on the morning line. Your second choice, just to the outside of that one, is the number 6, Sweet Treasure for Irad Ortiz and Brad Cox at 3-1. And your third choice is a horse that honestly is very close to my heart, in the number 8, Nanda Dea, making the return, now 7 years old. Pratt for Horacio De Paz as the new trainer, of course, as Nacho Correas did retire from racing last year, 9-2 on the morning line. Bringing up our picks on the screen right now. Andrew, very nice, very based, my friend, going with the 6. Pat, you're going a little bit off the rails, though. Number 2, Epic Style, double digits for you, my friend. 12-1 on the morning line. What'd you like most about the number 2 Epic Style?
Yeah, I think she's progressing very well. Wants more distance, I firmly believe. She's going to have to get faster. There's no doubt about that. But I just really like the way Mike Stidham's brought her along. Been running consistently in the summer. Got going, and it's just improved, like I said. And I think that watching her race, two back at least, at Belmont, at Aqueduct, the horse going 6 furlongs was really not engaged too much early. Finally got engaged with Junior in the stretch drive, and really galloped out pretty well. And then all I needed to see in the next start, going 2 turns of fairgrounds, I just horse kind of the same thing and just appreciated the extra distance. So, like I said, this horse is going to have to improve on the speed figure. Going to trust Stidham here. It's been working steady since. We'll see. Obviously, there's others in here that have some credentials that are a little bit higher, but I think Epic Style, she's got a pretty big shot at a number.
Yeah, I mean, especially at a number. First time out for her 4-year-old season. But you can see, I mean, first time 2 turns, she really relished that. And of course, beat Triumphant Spirit, who's also in this race, but came back in the interim to win an allowance at Fairgrounds going away. So definitely one horse to like at a price is the number 2 Epic Style, who Pat has on top. Andrew, Sweet Treasure is actually, I don't know how you feel. It's actually one of my bigger opinions on the day. You're going from... I'm going to say this. How do I say this lightly? The devil in Florent Giroux going to Irad Ortiz Jr., which is a very nice thing.
Yeah, that's saying it lightly. Okay.
But coming from the Pebbles last time out, where really probably didn't have any excuse in that race, but got cut off and still stayed on really nicely in there. But also coming out of a nice race from Churchill, going a mile, getting back to the mile in the 16th, looks poised if she continues to improve on buyers to run a big one.
Yeah, and I don't really see there being too much controlling speed outside of the 3 in this race. The 10 is, the 9 is also some speed, but the 9 likes to press a little bit more than anybody else. So I thought that maybe with Irad hopping on the 6, Irad might just get really aggressive with this one. And if he gets forwardly placed, I think that's where this horse runs her best races. And I think getting Lasix is also a help with her. She had no excuses in the Pebbles. She did get cut off a little bit, but she and held on, but she didn't get in that much trouble to cause it to fade that far back. But she likes to battle, and I think that there's going to be a little bit of a pace pressure, but nothing out of the ordinary. So I think that she's going to get good position, and I ride on the front end on the turf. I mean, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and while she's improving, Andrew, I completely agree with you. I think it's complete trip dependent. I don't think there's much speed in here at all. I know it's a long stretch at Fairgrounds, but if she's going to sit pocket or even just sitting right off like she did last time with Irad aboard, I'll take that sign up at 3-1 any single day of the week. And that's exactly why that she's going to be one of my bigger opinions on the entire day. I know probably the mile might be a little bit better for her than a mile in the 16th. However, she's won a mile 16th before going away after being on the lead. Again, whether she sits just off the 3 or sits pocket behind the 3 and the 9, sign me up at 3-1. A couple other horses that we like underneath. We'll get to the favorite last. But the number 11, Andrew, I'll let you keep talking. Pat, I'll let you go next. Triumphant Spirit, Declan Cannon hops aboard for Brendan Walsh. Won last time, obviously going to have to improve, but could be one to sit mid-pack, maybe pick up a piece late.
Yeah, I just think this horse is constantly improving, and in a race this wide open in a double-digit odds on the morning line, I'm going to eat all of this up. I think she is definitely just looking really good. I mean, that last time out, I mean, she beat the not that last time out, but she did beat lost to Epic Style, and then came back to win that last race out. But yeah, I think like that does help out Pat's horse on top. I think that if you like that horse, you like this horse, and I overlooked the 2 a little bit, but I do think the 11 is the one that's improving more. So I like the 11 on the outside. I like the post position, and I think this horse can run maybe an 84, 85 buyer and make some noise.
Yeah, I mean, definitely underneath. Obviously, they're going to be very similar prices in both the 11 Triumphant Spirit and the number 2 Epic Style. So, kind of a pick me in which one you want, which one you think can improve into this. Obviously, 3 for 3 on the fairgrounds and the money also helps the 11. Pat, you're going with the number 9 Stylish Sue in second. This is that aforementioned horse that will be towards the front with the number 3 Wild Bout Hillary. Brandon, a mile and eighth race, maybe too long last time. Now cutting back a little bit, not a whole lot of speed. Whether she wins or not, I think she's definitely at least worth a look with Luis Saez for in the money.
Yeah, and I think the distance should hit her, right in the middle. And that's kind of what I'm going with here. She's going to be the outside, got to break well. And I think that this is the type of one with Louis aboard, like you said, Kyle. I would like. Joe Sharp is he's been pretty good too of late. I'm going to give this horse another chance out of a pretty nice stakes race with some quality horses in there to rebound.
Yeah, and you're talking about nice horses. Obviously, Proctor Street, Awesome Tech in there. Adrastea is how you say that horse's name. Came back to run in a stake at Turfway Park. Got a nice third with an 86 buyer. Duvet Day came back a little bit to regress. However, that was, of course, on the synthetic, not on the turf. So a couple have came back to run yet in that race, but obviously you're keying in on to those 2 races at Churchill where that horse ran very, very well at a mile and a 16th. Last horse we really need to talk about, guys. Obviously, I have the 8 in second, Nandadea. This is kind of just a hunch play. Horacio de Paz has not run a single horse at fairgrounds over the last 5 years. So the fact that this horse shows up in this spot, obviously working at the Thoroughbred Training Center out in Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, ships to here, gets Pratt aboard too. I mean, it's just a kind of a hunch play to get this horse in the money. She sits very nice stalking trips. Obviously, will she be ready off the layoff and the trainer switch? Horacio de Paz wins 15% off this type of trainer switch, but does get in the money 45% of the time, something like that. And with a horse that should show tactical speed, I want her in the mix, even though she is 7 years old now. I should still get around that 5-1 price, which is going to be good enough for me. Andrew, Pat, I want to talk about Medoro, and then we'll move on. Peter Urton takes this horse from the West Coast, ships out here. Obviously, he has a bunch of other horses in on this card as well. So it's not necessarily a one-off. Gets Jose aboard, though. I mean, really, she's done nothing wrong on the West Coast. She's run against some really nice horses, including She Feels Pretty in the American Oaks, Special Juan in the Goldacova Breeders' Cup Day, Sagesta in our time. So it's not like she's running against complete bums. This is definitely a drop in class for her, which is obviously denoted in the price, but just one that might be a little bit hard to trust on the win on as of late.
Yeah, for sure. I'll go first, Andrew. My whole thing with her is just that I don't know. I feel like, with a horse like this running in graded stakes all the time, like you think the distance that they prefer. She's just been all over the place when it comes to distance, and that's something I can't back at a short price. Yeah, they could be finding that easy spot to get the 5-year-old campaign going. But Andrew, I'll let you talk a little bit more about her. I just too many question marks at what's going to be short odds.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. It's like, why here? This horse comes from.
Yep.
I mean, I know that Peter Ern's bringing a couple horses over here for this day, but I mean, this horse, besides the rain factor of what happens out there in the West Coast the last couple weeks, I don't understand why not to run this horse out west in those turf races where this horse has shined. They're easier fields out west, I would say. Maybe not class wise, but depth wise, I mean, you're not getting as many quality horses in those races. The top of the crop out there is really good, but the rest is kind of mid. Here, this race is pretty wide open, and then you're going to add Lasix for the first time, which is a unique move, as this horse never has run on Lasix. So that's just another red flag, in my opinion, off of declining efforts, and never really showing improvement at that top level. Just running consistent, like high 80s isn't really impressive to me at this short price, even if it's been a couple years of that consistency.
And the fun fact is she's never run at a mile and 16th. I mean, that's the fun fact about this horse is all mile and an eighth. You see a mile and a quarter in there in the American Oaks. she's never been a mile and 16th. Obviously, that's not necessarily a bad thing by any means, but it's just an interesting tidbit on a horse that's going to be something to 5 come post time on Saturday. In the Marie Krantz Memorial, I'm going 6-8-5. Pat's going 2-9-5. Andrew's going 6-11-5. So all 5s in third position for us. The next race on the card that we're covering is race 10. The Fasig Tipton, got to give a shout out to the sponsors. Fasig Tipton Silver Bullet Day. It's 150,000 mile and 70 yards for 3-year-old fillies. And this one is definitely the shortest field on Saturday, but it's still a pretty quality field of these 3-year-old fillies, headed by the number 1 Atropa for Jose Ortiz and Sharita Vo at 2-1 on the morning line. The second choice on the morning line is number 4, Taken by the Wind. It is BJ Hernandez and Kenny McPeak 5-2, and your third choice being the number 5, the Ontario bred Love Your Neighbor for Axel Concepcion and Mike Stidham. Bringing up our picks on the screen right now. Andrew and I are both going with the number 1 Atropa. Pat, you're going with the second choice on the morning line, the number 4, Taken by the Wind, the Florida bred. What'd you like most about her going into this race? Pat.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I do. Oh, the Florida. Wait, the 6 is the Florida bred?
No, the 4. You have the 4 on top.
What race are we doing here? Race 10?
10. Oh my God, what are we doing?
No, I have the 6 on top.
Oh my gosh! All right, it might be a host fail. It might be a co-host fail. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, neither one of us have Pashmina on it. Yep.
Yeah.
Let me put this horse in the winner's circle for sure. Pat, go for it, man. What do you like most about Pashmina?
Yes, this is the horse that I was talking about at the beginning that I liked in the Untappable, and just too much speed early on, and I just felt that she just couldn't withstand that. I think this spot, outside draw again, there's not as much pace signed on. I believe this should be her time. I think there's a lot of talent there, and I'm hoping can be able to kind of just look like the true dirt horse after debuting on the grass when that really wasn't what they wanted to really do. And I'm hoping that that's just another rebound in here and they could progress. But it was definitely a negative what happened last time, I believe, because this horse was we talked about this horse. A lot of people were talking about this horse, I believe, right, guys?
Including me.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, I picked this horse on top. I think I might have picked this horse for a best bet because I thought she was loose last time and just really did no running. And I'll put the hand up. I'll do the Joey Colescott's on this one. I'll put the hand up. That's a host fail. I put Pat's picks for 11 into 10. So that is on me. Again, put the hand up.
That's the first time in I think ever that I'm usually the one that sends too quick of an email. It's all good.
Look, man, hey, I'll take the accountability. It's fine. There's no problem. Obviously, you see on the screen right now, Andrew mentioned Pashmina has a pretty easy lead, and Timeform agrees, favoring front runners. However, the 4 is not the slowest horse at all, and neither is the 5, Love Your Neighbor. But also, Atropa is not the slowest horse of them all either. Obviously, last time in the Goldenrod, dropped way back and came absolutely flying late. But that maiden special weight win at Keeneland, she was a length and a half off and won by 10. Of course, one of the only Sharita Vo horses I don't bet at Keeneland wins by 10 lengths. So I guess take that for what you will. But I think she comes into this race very, very well meant. And obviously, we talk about horses that closed like that last time. I don't even think that's exactly what she wants to do. And the fact that she should sit somewhere off the rail, kind of like first call asking, I really like Atropa on Saturday.
Yeah, so I think the only reason that she was really she wasn't ever really far back in that last time out. It was more so that she could never get really positioned because of the outside post. I think that she kind of just needed to shuffle in, and then once she got settled, she could regain momentum and then make that big run. I think she likes to be on the inside, and I think she likes to be forwardly placed. I think she gets that today. I don't think she's going to have to worry about the 2-3 breaking on top of her. So she's going to get that first call at the early speed, and she might just sit second or third and just make one big run off the rail. She's going to get the least amount of distance, in my opinion. And you get Jose Ortiz, who's hitting at 30%. This was going to be my top pick, but we will get into that later. But I think that this one is a very, very good horse, and I probably would single this horse in multi-race wagers.
I love to hear that, my friend. Obviously, again, I try to be as impartial as possible on the show. Obviously, they give me crap because I love my Cherie DeVos. I really do. And I think she's probably not anymore, but was by far the most underrated trainer in the country. I mean, look at those numbers at Fairgrounds between Jose and Cherie. Jose is Cherie's number one call, 38% at Fairgrounds for 2025-26 so far with 39 starts. When Jose hops on a Cherie horse, you know that's the horse that she means live, which actually goes against what I'm going to say later, but don't worry about that. Atropa is probably, if not my biggest opinion on the day, which goes to the 6 last time. They're very interchangeable for me. This will be for sure a double that I bet on Saturday between the number 6 Sweet Treasure last race and race 9 and Atropa in race 10. I completely agree with you, Andrew. I'd probably single her. Again, whether she's the best race in the horse, fantastic. Best horse in the race or not, I think she sits completely the best trip, and she might just trip out at the top of the stretch and win by 4. Again, maybe not be the best horse going forward, but just pace scenario wise, she fits the bill in every single regard with the number 1, Atropa. Andrew, you have actually 2 horses that neither of us have anywhere in the number 5, Love Your Neighbor, and the 4, Taken by the Wind. Pat, we're basically the same exact rate, except I have White Smoke, the other Cherie, in there in 3rd. But I'll let you talk about your 2 underneath horses, Andrew. The number 5, Love Your Neighbor, and the 4, Taken by the Wind. 5, Love Your Neighbor, beating Pashmina last time in the Untappable race, obviously we covered on this podcast, and ran a very nice race, just losing to Hit Parade, and then Taken by the Wind, coming out of a very impressive win in the Pocahontas.
I think 5 is the biggest question mark in this field, and with the one with the most potential. I think 5 should have won last time out against Hit Parade, but the horse lost his iron, which you didn't really notice in the replay, but apparently did, and then still was game. So honestly, I think that horse might have been the better of the 2. But I don't know if the pace sets up for this horse today. Kind of feel like this one's just going to get shuffled around. And but if this horse is as good as it seems to be, this horse probably could win this race, maybe. But just a couple question marks. So that's why I put this horse in 2nd. And then Taken by the Wind, I just think hasn't shown enough yet. And then there's that layoff that's also not the most appetizing to look at. But I mean, it's McPeak and Hernandez. It's Louisiana. These 2, they do what they do down here. And I can't see how this horse doesn't have a say late. Hasn't really done anything wrong. And I think it's just a little bit of too much time in between starts for me.
And not to mention in that last race, really the only one that's flattered the form is Dazzling Dame, who out on the East Coast has become a very, very nice horse for Brittany Russell, running an 82 at Delaware and then a 91 at Aqueduct, winning by 11.5 lengths. So, but the other ones, I mean, Miss Complicated came back to run a 47 buyer, and after that, Joke Maker ran a 63, 45. So not a whole lot of flattery coming out of that Pocahontas in that last race, which is why I ended up leaving out Taken by the Wind. And I mean, might as well talk about every horse in this race. Number 3, White Smoke, a horse coming from sprinting to routing, which is one thing, obviously getting Pratt aboard over Jose. You don't really see Pratt ride for Cherie that often, if at all. And the fact that he has multiple mounts for Cherie on this card, I feel like is something to take note as well. I think people just love to bet these types of closers from sprints going longer because they, in the public's eyes, they think that can attribute to a very nice closing kick going 2 turns. And that's not always necessarily the case, but both the 1 and the 3 are belladonna. So either Atropa takes it first call, or if the pace heats up too much, White Smoke could easily be that horse to come over the top and win. Essential Qualities had a nice start to his stallion career, 14% on the win end in total races, going dirt routes, also that 14%. So, and Curlin mares, so that the distance is in the pedigree, just a matter of can this horse find it first time coming out of the maiden rakes in the Silver Bullet Day. I'm going 1-6-3. Pat's going 6-1-5. Andrew's going 1-5-4. Guys, next race is the last race we're going to cover in depth. We will give our picks for both the Louisiana and the Lecomte, but this is the last race we will go in depth on. It's the Colonel E.R. Bradley Stakes, $100,000 going a mile and a 16th on the turf. And of course, this is the race that's close to my heart today. We have, of course, us at Crowns Way Racing. We have two of our best horses in this race in the number 6, Vote No, and the number 11, Otago. Paco Lopez rides Vote No, who won the stake on him at Delaware, and Axel Concepcion rides Otago, who won a stake on him at Monmouth. So 2 stakes winning jockeys for us are back aboard on our horses, which we're very excited about. But in the Colonel E.R. Bradley, the morning line favorite is the number 1, Capuna, for Luis Saez and Norm Cassie, and brand new found, really nice turf form. 3-1 is your morning line favorite. The second choice, the number 4, Laganos, after 2 massive Kentucky Downs races, Jose Ortiz and Steve Asmussen, 7-2 on the morning line. Your third choice is shared between the number 3, I'd Rather Be Blessed, and the number 5, Cameo Performance. And putting up our picks on the screen, you guys are high if you don't think I'm going with my own horse on top. You guys are absolutely high. Pat, you are going with the number 4, Laganos. Andrew going with Gigante, the Virginia bred, who's ran some very nice races. That horse is also 10-1 on the morning line. Pat, I'll let you talk first about Laganos going after Charlie's heart. I see with this horse, of course, that being one of Chuckles' favorite horses after he won for him probably twice back in like 2022. But what would you like most about Laganos, who, again, 2 massive Kentucky Downs races, has kind of yet to step up to that upper echelon from that race, but still running very, very nice mid-90 buyers otherwise?
Yeah, and he just, he has been running at levels sometimes that just aren't what he wants, but he shows that he can be there because of performances in between those races, guys. And I just think Laganos, this is the ideal spot to get his 5-year-old campaign started. You could say he needs one, after that River City race at Churchill Downs, where he was that middling price of about 7.5-1. But I think Steve Asmussen has done a great job getting this horse ready to go for this spot. And should be sitting more towards the front of the pack here. There's a lot of horses in here, guys, where you're trying to get them to round back into form, or they're just coming off a bit of a layoff into the new year. And I couldn't get aboard any of them, so I ended up kind of cheaping out to a horse that's going to be lower odds. But I think that Laganos is one of the right ones in here, over the one that's stolen my money, Gigante, that's got the outside draw. Oh, geez.
And we'll go to him next. Don't you worry. But of course, that race, the River City, Pat, is that one where Wolfie's Dynaghost absolutely freaked in that race. Obviously came back to flatter that number in the Fort Lauderdale race that I was there for that day, but ran a 99 buyer after going to Brian Lynch's bar and then winning the Fort Lauderdale after that. So obviously that race has been flattered. Now getting Jose Ortiz back aboard, who rode both those really nice Kentucky Downs races. So lots of things to like about the number 4, Laganos. You are going with the horse that was mentioned before by Pat. Andrew, you're going with Gigante, a horse that's ran some very nice races. This is one that, if this race was run back in last year at this time of the year, this horse would easily be way less than 10-1. However, seen a little bit of a dip in form. However, that Remington Park, both those Remington Park starts, 93, 91, definitely put him kind of in the, definitely in the mix.
Yeah, this one seems to just I think it's just a horse that likes certain tracks. It's one of those like quirky horses for Steve Asmussen that shows up randomly and then you're like, oh yeah, that horse has numbers that make sense back on its form, but there's a couple clunkers in the mix that throw you off. And I think this one likes Fairgrounds as one of its favorite tracks. I mean, 4 for 7 in the exact. This form was really good last winter here. Comes back for the winter here, and then ran a little bit of a stinker last time out in that short stake race that we covered on the 20th. But that field was a little bit tougher than this one. It was a little bit more deep than this one. And I think that this one comes back into this field on not a quick turnaround, but a reasonable one, where this one's staying on this little bit of a path through these stakes races. I like that move for Asmussen. I like Graham hopping aboard. I mean, he wins often for Asmussen. They're 4 for 12 at this meet. And yeah, I mean 3 for 12. And yeah, I think that there's not a lot of pace, but there's a lot of horses that are like not super fast, but like to be forwardly placed. So like, I think there might be a strong, weak speed contention. setting up a decent closing pace scenario for this one. And yeah, this one's going to be 10 to 15 to 1 probably. So this one's probably my long shot play of the day.
No, and look, Gigante has definitely run some really nice races. Like, let's not get that mixed up. Just a matter, again, can he rekindle that type of form that he showed at Remington Park, but also at Fairgrounds last year, running that 97 in that grade 2 on March 22nd, also losing in that race too. I'd rather be blessed than same thing as he did last time out. Guys, I'll let you talk about a couple others, and then I'll go into my horses in this race, because I do want to talk about Vote No in this one. The number 1, Capuna, Pat, is a horse you have in third. Andrew, of course, you have in second, as I do as well. You and I have the same underneath horses, Andrew, but Capuna, Pat, a horse that, again, ran some really nice dirt races, just couldn't really take that step forward. Then ran at Churchill in that optional claimer 175, blew the doors, and really never looked like a loser at 15 to 1. Then came back last time, slower pace in that race, so couldn't really get the job done, but should be ready to go come Saturday.
Yeah, the one thing with Capuna, I wasn't really buying it going into the last race. I just, kind of the odds and the buyer stuck out for the first time on turf. But I will say that race, the middling fractions in there, they were going pretty slow after the first quarter. And he did make a nice run late. Had to veer to the inside, as I'd rather be blessed, did sort of kick out a little wide in the stretch when going wire to wire. So I'm going to give Capuna a chance, and I was thinking about putting that horse on top in here. And then I'll just touch on I'd rather be blessed really quick, so you can get on with your guys' horses.
Yep, go for it.
Listen, this horse is the type of one where if you give him the lead and you let him and you don't contest him early, he is going to get courageous. I mean, he will let horses get to him at the top of the stretch, but he's got it usually in extra gear. And that's kind of why I want this horse in the mix, just because he threw those 2 duds in, but other than that, his form's been pretty good in some pretty nice races. So it's pretty as simple as that. I just think this horse really likes the lead, and if gets it, watch out again.
And also really likes Fairgrounds as well. Obviously 3 for 4 in the exacta. Again, Capuna, Andrew, don't know if you need anything on that. I think that horse is just really, really good right now and basically completely newfound turf form. And then number 9, Reagan's Wit, who's a Cherie horse for Flavian Pratt that I was very high on in the middle of the year last year. Didn't put it together in the Manila at Saratoga, and now has come back into this race off a little bit of a layoff. But again, anything at Capuna, and then we'll move to Reagan's Wit.
Yeah, so last time out, that Capuna horse was my best bet that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I seemed to be the only believer of that 98 buyer, if I recall. But I just think that this horse is going to be stuck in a similar situation today, where there's not a strong pace, where he's going to have to get creative again to make that big run. I mean, there's just going to be a lot of horses trying to do the same thing as him. Yeah. And now at a short price, which is probably going to be just as short as last time, people are going to look at this horse as the one to beat in this field, in my opinion. I think this horse actually could probably be a 9 to 5, maybe, or even money. I think that this horse is definitely a tough horse, but I don't see the pace pressure being strong enough for him to make another closing trip like he did 2 back. But I really like Reagan's Wit. That Reagan's Wit horse is one of my more favorable horses that is in training on turf in the country. And I really think this horse has ability to make a big splash as a 4-year-old. And I like the spot to return to become for its 4-year-old season. Look, DeVoe has 3 horses in this field, I believe. Sorry, I didn't take your 2 over this one, but this one I think is the one that's going to have the most upside coming off the layoff. And I think that this one has the ability to really make a pop in a wide open field for West Point, which fun fact, West Point Thoroughbreds did originate in my area. They're from my area. So,
and I've heard they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good crew.
I've heard they're pretty good at winning races too.
Yeah, they do the job right.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. I loved Reagan's Wit last time. Actually, and I bet her that day trying to beat Zulu Kingdom, who I tried to beat every single race that horse is running. That horse doesn't lose, so I lose when trying to beat him. But Reagan's Wit in the JW Murphy, to me, just, looked like the next best thing. Then didn't show in the Manila. I think this is actually a pretty tough spot to bring him back into here in a race that, again, a lot of horses are doing the same exact thing that he's doing, maybe even off a little bit of a shorter layoff, but at least to get in your exacta or trifecta, and also to propel for a big 4-year-old season, Andrew. I completely agree. I want to have this horse at least in my exotics, for my exactas and trifectas and superfectas as well, if you guys play those. But just a horse I think is a little bit on a tough angle, at least in this race alone. But again, down the line, I'm looking forward to Reagan's Wit to hopefully continue on a big 4-year-old year. And again, I mentioned at the top of the show, both of you dead to me, by the way, both of you. But they're definitely picking my horse on top. Vote No is a horse that we probably got a little bit too ambitious coming out of that that Cape Henlopen. And the United Nations, I thought he actually ran a really nice race. It was a closing fourth, just lost to him by a neck to Major Dude, closing at the 1.375 mile and a half, probably gets third at least, if not second, over Grand Sonata. Then runs in the Sword Dancer, where you basically just threw a line through it. Even though he ran a 91 buyer, Kendrick sent him completely to the lead, try and stole it. And then we got pressed by Nation's Pride the whole way around. So experiment gone wrong. And then the Turf Cup, Kentucky Downs on the good surface, just no running at all. Gave him a little bit of a time off. Now comes back into this race, even though he's cutting back from 1.5 miles to 1 mile and a 16th. You could see, even though Indiana is nowhere near this type of competition, he blew the doors off that field realistically. 93 buyer during that race, 96, 98. Comes back again off that little bit of a layoff, but we're very, very high on him to start off his 5-year-old year. And Time Firm has him in the back just because he's been running those 1.5 mile races, and also because he was on the lead in the Sword Dancer. I don't think they really know what to do with him. I'm hoping he's going to sit somewhere mid-pack and make a big run coming down the stretch. And with a very conducive turf course to closing, and the fact that it's a very long stretch, I think that very much favors Vote No. And again, Paco hops back aboard, who won for us in the Cape Henlopen, absolutely flying late over a decent field at the time at Delaware. Otago, guys, is the last horse we'll talk about. Then we'll move on to our picks for the Louisiana and Lecomte, and then best bets. Otago is, when he's at his best, he's very, very good. In Monmouth during the summer, he was at his best. Low 90s is exactly where this horse can sit at, beating actually a really nice field in the Cliffhanger, then running against Redistricting in the Monmouth. Complete best of the rest. No one was beating Redistricting that day. Also a very nice horse for Chad Brown. Then in the R.D. Schiller, almost felt like that race kind of came out of nowhere, but only losing a length to Major Dude, who was a multiple greatest stakes placed and winning horse. So Otago, when again, he's very good when he's at his best. Just a matter of second off the layoff, can he be there? I think he can. Might just be a little bit below what the echelon of these upper horses are, which I think Vote No can get to rather than Otago. But if he got into the super, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And obviously, I would be very ecstatic for that. In the Colonel E.R. Bradley, I'm going 6-1-9 up the green and black. Pat's going 4-3-1. Andrew's going 10-1-9. Guys, if you want to get the next two races in depth, Picks and Ponies is covering this card tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, the last two races specifically, and then they're going to talk about their picks for the Eclipse Awards. One of them, in Paul Halloran, is actually an Eclipse voter, so if that interests you at all, please return here to the HHH Racing Podcast YouTube channel tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern for Picks and Ponies. But we're going to at least give our picks. Again, it felt kind of short to kind of talk about the undercards, but at least not give our picks for race 12 and race 13. Guys, again, top picks is all I'm putting on the screen right now. Talk 10, 15 seconds, and we'll kind of round table it and then move on to best bets after this. In Louisiana, I'm actually going with the number 1, Moonlight. Pat, you're going with a little bit of a horse out there in the number 6, Tarantino. Andrew's going with the morning line favorite, Just a Touch. Pat, what'd you like about Tarantino?
Yeah, give me the old guy at 8 years old. Get some class relief. Got some good time off. Got some works in. Give me that horse at a nice price against Just a Touch.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way I felt too. Obviously, Andrew, this horse should win this race, right? But it's just one of those things that he's been off for, been scratching out of these races, trying to find a spot. Again, should win. But it's the price that obviously concerns a lot of us.
Yeah, I mean the workout tab suggests that this horse isn't like hurt or anything,
Yeah.
so I don't know why this horse scratched last time out. But yeah, if this horse has its A game, this horse is the one to beat. I don't see anybody really trying to go past this one.
And that's kind of the way, right? That you either view it one way or the other, right? If
Right.
Just a Touch it wins, you'll be like, that was kind of stupid to try and beat him. Or if he loses again, you'll be like, yep, that's Just a Touch right there for you. It's kind of the way it goes. I'm going with Moonlight, Chris Block, Jose Ortiz, guys. This horse has run some very, very nice races, including last time at Churchill in the Cherokee Mile, obviously going to a mile and a 16th. Don't think that hurts him at all. His Buyer Top is in a mile and the 16th race at Churchill. So going with Moonlight to hopefully sit a little bit closer than the last 2 times and blow by at the top of the stretch. Guys, the road to the Kentucky Derby for Louisiana carries on with the Lecomte Stakes and a horse that I'm very excited to hopefully bet and win on again with the number 7, Mesquite. Pat's going with number 6, Thunderbuck. Andrew is going with the number 10, Stop the Car, Andrew, which I actually really do like that pick as well. But Pat, I'll let you go first again. Thunderbuck for Brad Cox.
Yeah, that horse just really impressive last time. Dealt with a lot of trouble, had to go wide, and just really kicked on late. Really liked that horse a lot, and looking for another step forward here. But this is a salty group, and I can't wait to listen to those guys tomorrow night cover some more in depth on some of these horses.
Yeah, this is a very, very good edition of the Lecomte, and one of those horses that's going to get a lot of the the wow money, the next up money is Stop the Car, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming out of not a maiden race, actually started for 150,000 claimer, then came back in that last race for Churchill and blew the absolute doors off them. Obviously step up here, but he continues on the progression. He fits it just as well, if not better than any of them.
Yeah, I think this one's the most proven out of the field so far, in my opinion. And not many horses in this field have faced winners, and this one has dominated winners. I think that this one, it might be just improving each time out. You're not going to get 16-1, but you're probably going to get 5-1. And with these connections and Brandon Walsh, I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you. One, I'll definitely, if you play any horizontals at all, I think one you definitely need to include. Mesquite, I've been looking to bet this horse ever since last time. Did end up scratching out of a race to go into this spot, which I take that as a positive. The fact that she scratches out of the last race and goes into the Lecomte, I actually take that as a positive. This horse ran at Churchill when closing was not a thing at all on that day, and this horse flew late, beating Carson Street, who was also in this race. First time out routing. I know the Buyer dipped a little bit, but gets Flavian Pratt aboard, and I understand Jose goes to the 5. And I know I'm playing to the trope here, but I actually do like both of Cherie's horses in here. Golden Tempo is a horse like Stop the Car that I need to include because of how well that horse ran. Again, though, it's that angle from 6 furlongs to the 2 turns for the first time while being bet is one of those angles I'm always a little bit hesitant on. But Mesquite tried 2 turns for the first time last time, loved it. And now getting back into here, we'll need a little bit of a pace setup, but really, really do like Mesquite for race 13 for a very nice edition of the Lecomte Stakes. Guys, best bets, and then we're going to end the show. Thank you guys all so much for watching still. I greatly appreciate it. Again, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, down below in the video player here on YouTube. If you're watching on X, please come over to YouTube. If you do end up liking the show, hit the like button or hit the like button on Twitter and hit the follow button as well over there. Andrew, you kind of had mentioned it a little bit. Your best bet on the day in race number 7 is a win on the number 5 Petkoff.
Yeah, I just can't pass up that last time out at Fairgrounds off the layoff. I think this horse has more in the tank, and this horse just loves Fairgrounds and sprinting at Fairgrounds on the turf. Can't pass up Brittany Russell and Ben Curtis. So, that combination at 22% on limit numbers and 20% elsewhere. You can't pass it up at 8-1 morning line.
I completely agree with you. That's just, race 7 is not necessarily my forte. But again, the fact that you feel strongly about it makes me feel strongly about it as well. So, Andrew, good luck with the number 5 Petkoff in race number 7. Patrick, a pick 3 going with your best bet. Singling a horse in the middle is there. Starts in race number 9 with 2-9. That's Epic Style. and Stylish Sue, 2 horses you mentioned at length for, and then the Silver Bullet Day, you're singling Pashmina. So going against us with the Trope, you're singling Pashmina in that race, and then going 1, 3, 4 with Kapuna. I'd rather be Blessed and Laganos.
Yeah, I think I really want to bet Pashmina again. So I think this pick 3 could pay very well if my 2 prices get in early in the first leg. Pashmina singled, like I said, and then go a little deep in the last, and hopefully be open to some pretty nice scores in there for that like middle pick 3 or late pick 3 before the big stakes races.
And I don't have any problem with it. When Vote No wins, I'm going to be so happy that you're out of this. That's what, of course, what we're going to say. Pat, of course, good luck with your best bets. If I don't win, I hope you do. But in race number 9, guys, and this is the double I mentioned earlier. I'm going to 100% be betting this. A win on the number 6, Sweet Treasure. I'll take that as a host fail. It is number 6, Sweet Treasure, in race number 9. It's 2, not 3 strikes. We're only at 2 yet. I talked about that horse at length for Brad Cox. Get away from the man whose name shall not be named. Getting that horse aboard should be second choice, 5-2, somewhere in that range. If that horse is going to sit pocket trip or just off the leader, give me that every single day of the week at 3-1. And then Atropa, probably my most likely winner on the entire day. If that horse goes off at 9-5, I probably will. And if I'm alive in that double, I probably will double down. Probably put a win bet on that horse as well, because 9-5 is good enough. If this horse goes off at 6-5, that's a different story. And I'll be glad that I'll take probably this double, which will be 7-1, something along those lines. So I'll take it every single day of the week. A double 6-1 is really the best bet, but I'll probably place win wagers on both of those, depending on the price on both Sweet Treasure and Atropa. But also, guys, if you don't think I'm putting a win bet on Vote No and Mesquite, you're probably mistaken. Let's just say keep that to a minimum. But guys, thank you guys so much for joining me. And thank you so much for joining me out there for another edition of Bettin N Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast, covering a very, very nice Lecomte day over at Fairgrounds. And thank you to TwinSpires for sponsoring this episode. Of course, also thank you to our good friends over at DRF and First Racing for also sponsoring the podcast. I see a bunch of people out there, guys. Pat wins the best bet, so thank you, Katie. Pat, good always. Pat, hopefully your pick 3 wins, because you did get the win with the best bet. But of course, if you enjoyed the podcast tonight, go down below the video player, hit the like button, and hit the subscribe button, because this kicks off a multi-month long way to the Kentucky Derby, and we hope that you guys follow along with us all the way to the first Saturday in May. For my co-hosts, Patrick Kunsel and Andrew Rosinski, this has been your host, Kyle Roscoe, for episode 164 of Bettin N Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast, covering the Lecomte Day undercard stakes, as well as giving our picks for the other 2 at Fairgrounds. And until next time, everybody, go Bears, crush your bets, win those photos, and stay safe, everyone. We'll see you boys in the next one. Have a good night.